bass for. I just started playing the bass like not that long ago, and I'm like super into it now.
Yeah. Well, I started out playing guitar and drums just growing up from like my parents. My dad played both of those growing up, so we had a drum set and an electric guitar in the house. And then getting really into electric guitar when I was like, I don't know, in seventh or eighth grade. So I primarily played guitar at the time, but then when I joined Maple Hill, that's actually when I picked up bass. At the time, we were going through a slight like lineup change, and so it made the most sense for me to cover bass at the time, and then it just kind of stuck. But it's been really fun. So I never really had any like training or lessons or anything that like that specifically for bass. But I feel like because of the nature of the music that we play, and especially the style of music we played back when we were younger, it was pretty easy to go from like playing a power chord on the bottom three strings of the guitar to just playing one single note on the bass. So that was a good, like, easy way for me to work my way into it. But I've been having a ton of fun with it recently.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that. I started with the guitar, and the only reason I started playing the bass was because we didn't want to find another person for our band.
Yeah, being able to play both is really helpful, and a lot of fun as well. Like, I feel like a lot of people have the perspective of like, oh, if you play guitar, like, why would you play the bass? It's just like two less strings. But obviously there's such a different role in music. And oddly enough, if I'm just like playing something on the bass, like, I don't know, it just inspires me in different ways than I think guitar does. And so I really appreciate it for that.
I feel that.
Dude, I cannot play guitar or sing, which Ava knows I can't sing.
He's so bad.
Yeah. But I do, you know, as a drummer, like, I think I've said this before on other shows, but I was in a band, and the guitar player, bass player would normally leave their instruments at my house.
Oh yeah,
and I always had the opportunity to go pick up the guitar or bass and learn how to play it because it was always at my house. And I just kept on saying, I'll do it one day. And here I am, 20 years later, still never done it. So,
yeah. I mean, it's intimidating, man. Like, I don't know. Guitar for me, like, especially growing up, was limited to like an E major chord and a G major chord. It was just like two things that like my dad taught me when I was like too young to really remember. So beyond that, like actually like picking patterns and playing melodies and stuff like that, it really takes like a kind of specific type of focus and like skill, I guess, that if you've never touched a stringed instrument before, it can be very intimidating. But it's a ton of fun.
I'll play like a little song I wrote or something like that, like one little thing. And my friends would be like, that's not even a chord, dude. I'm like, but it sounds good.
It doesn't matter. Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
It sounds good. So have you guys ever toured? Has the band ever toured like around the United States or even like around the world?
Yeah, we've done a few short strings, like weekend runs, and we did like a 2-week long tour. That would have been 2016 or 2017, one of those summers. That was a fun tour where we went with one other band the whole time, and then a few other bands shared a few of those shows with us. So that was a ton of fun. That was all around just the Northeast. And that's where we've played most of our shows. We haven't played anything internationally yet, but we have a few connections abroad here and there that we're hoping to make something happen with eventually. But yeah, mostly we've been playing around the East Coast. Yeah, that's mostly where we've been playing shows.
So you guys have been playing around the East Coast?
Basically.
What? You guys were in California. You guys should have done some shows out there while you were out there.
Yeah, we thought so much about it, but like we ended up not being able to bring like any of our own instruments with us. And we only had like 12 days or whatever. We were living in the studio. So we were a little bit pressed for time anyways, just to get the whole thing done in like 10 or 12 days. So we wanted to do so much, but couldn't really make it happen at the time.
I don't know if it's this video, but there is a video that I'm going to ask you about. But let's go ahead and play Fading right now. And then I'm going to ask what I want to ask, but I'm waiting till this song's done. Okay. All right. Yeah. I don't know what I'm doing over here. I just want to say that this is the song I was talking about. Perfect.
All right, word.
Okay.
I think I lost my way. How did I end up here? Did you disappear? I'm all alone and I can feel you fading. You're slipping through the cracks and falling down below. Somebody tell me that I'm still worth saving. I'm hanging by a thread, but I won't let it go. Play it cool, 'cause you're a risk worth taking. With a point of view that living is dying in the making. Sweet caress, fragile bones, can't forget the feeling. I'll suppress and leave it alone. It's cloudy in the haze. I think I lost my way. How did I end up here? Did you disappear? You carried along and left me on my own. And now that you're gone, just thought that you should know. I'm all alone and I can feel you fading. You're slipping through the cracks and falling down below. Somebody tell me that I'm still worth saving. I'm hanging by a thread, but I won't let it go. You'll never know, you'll never see, you're missing out on everything. You'll never know, you'll never see, you're missing out on everything. You'll never know, you'll never see, you're missing out on everything.
Ooh, I like the dramatic effect when you're fading out. At the end of the song. Yeah, dude. So that song reminded me of that song kind of sounded like almost like it has an emo, like kind of like that 2000s emo mixed with some alternative and punk in it. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, totally. I mean, we've always had trouble putting an exact genre on ourselves. I think just over the course of our time as a band, we've moved a little bit more from like traditional pop punk into the emo alternative rock space. So it's tough. Whenever people ask us to describe ourselves, we usually give them like a 7 to 10 word long answer.
Well, because and the two songs you played, which is funny because I screen recorded those on my phone just in case you weren't prepared with music videos.
Oh, word.
I had those saved and I emailed them to myself, and it's those same exact two songs nice. that I had, which is why I had a question about fading. Okay, so shooting that music video. You guys are out. Well, it was already smiling. You guys didn't know what I'm going to ask.
He's so prepared.
Okay, so you guys are outside for it looked like a majority of that video, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so your drummer's there, obviously really playing the drums because he's the drummer. He's hitting the drums, but you see chords. I don't see any amps, and I don't see like anything that can project the guitar and the bass and the vocals like a PA system. So was everyone there just playing their music and the drum was just going crazy, really playing the drums?
Basically. We got a PA system, which you can see in a couple of the shots, but it was just like a wireless battery operated PA system that we kind of hid like behind the drum kit a little bit. So we could all hear the song a little bit to play along to. But yeah, when we were conceptualizing the video and planning it out, that was something that we went back and forth with, was like, all right, we have 2 days to shoot this video. And like, my friend, got to give a quick shout out to Adam Montoya and the guys at Hill and Valley, who helped us shoot it. Obviously I can't shoot it if I'm in the video. So he was the cameraman for the whole thing, which was awesome. But yeah, with like all the people we had there and, going from location to location so quickly, and just the nature of like the camera kind of spinning around everyone for like most of the time, we just thought it wouldn't really be worth it to try and like set up amps and like make people believe somehow that inside of this abandoned, demolished incinerator plant, they somehow have power for us to plug in and play to. So we're like, all right, let's just play our instruments, make the instruments look pretty, and leave the rest up to imagination.
Did the drums attract any bystanders just like walking by, being like, what's going on over here?
Yeah, absolutely. All of the outdoor locations, everywhere except for the indoor shot, which was at our friend Adam's studio. At all of the other locations, we had some bystander issues. All of those were like public spaces that like we couldn't really rent out, so we just kind of went and did it until we were told to leave. But yeah, like one of the locations where there were all those like the old stone walls and gates around, that's a place in Rochester where I live called the Sunken Garden. And it's in this big park, and it's a really popular location for people to take like family photos, engagement photos, like whatever. And this was on like one of the last decent weather days in the fall. So we got set up and then spent about 45 minutes just like waiting and like trying to shoot, because there were like 2 or 3 other groups of people there who were like similar to us, like doing a photo shoot, doing something they needed that space for. So it was a lot of just on the fly logistics and timing to make that all work.
Yeah, man, I think that video is really neat. That's the first thing I did notice though, was that there was no like sound system there, but I thought it'd be pretty fun to be there and just like actually just hear the drums and everyone else is kind of faking it.
Yeah. The few little behind the scenes videos we have are pretty funny of that, because we're all just like going crazy, like trying to imagine that our instruments are loud in our ears, but it's just Sinjin playing, trying to look as loud as he can while also trying not to make like too much noise on them. Because, like I said, we were in like public spaces where we were worried about noise complaints and stuff like that.
Right. The cops got to come real quick, shut you guys down.
Yeah, we did what we could.
It's like one step above air guitar.
Yeah. Exactly. Ava, did you have any final questions before we close out this episode?
When it comes to writing songs, do you guys write together, or is it like you each bring something to the table, or whatever?
Most of all of our songs have kind of come to fruition in different ways. I feel like how it usually works is one of us will come up with an idea for, honestly, I feel like it's usually just like a groove or a riff that we really like. And once that one person develops that to somewhere where they're happy with and they want to show everyone else, then we'll start working on it in pairs or in a group. But yeah, it's a lot of just like bouncing off each other and taking an idea, growing it, trying a few different things, and seeing what we can all see for it being like a full song rather than just one little part. And then maybe the lyrics will come after, melodies will come after, or sometimes somebody will come up with an idea that's just a vocal melody with lyrics. They're like, oh, I just had this idea, like, it sounds awesome. We'll then go in and figure out what kind of song it's going to be, figure out the instrumentals and all that. So it's pretty sporadic. I wouldn't say we have a nailed down system. We just kind of let each song come to be however it does.
That's pretty cool, though.
Yeah, I've been laughing this whole time because I'm looking at some of these comments that Sam is sharing. I'm like, oh my God. It's funny. Sam's like shaking his head at me when I ask you some questions. It's pretty funny. I do want to thank Sharon for being on as a commentator. She's been on almost pretty much every single live broadcast since we started doing the Facebook stuff and going live on Facebook. So thank you, Sharon, for that. Yep. And Sam, too bad you couldn't be here, but he's with us in spirit and has been commentating. Is there anything else, Joel, that you want to say, kind of some closing words about the band?